at all times. Any unattended baggage will be removed and may be destroyed by security services. Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Mind the gap.
Well, very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this evening's stream. We're going to be having a little go on the East Coastway, something nice and easy to ease me back into streaming. We should be starting on time, so about 7 minutes by my reckoning. So grab yourselves a cup of tea, coffee, maybe something stronger. Don't forget to share the stream with all your friends and groups you may be in. Let's see if we can get a few people in tonight. So yeah, looking at starting on time, guys, about 7 minutes time.
Passengers are reminded that smoking is prohibited at all stations and on all train services. This includes e-cigarettes. This is a safety announcement. It is not permitted to cycle, skateboard or rollerblade within the station building.
Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the first stream in what seems like absolutely ages. It's great to have you all here in the chat. Who have we got? Dave. Hello, Dave. Pig and Bob, the weird dude. Northern Princess Productions. Emily, how are you doing this evening? Peter Green. Bro Got Drip. Got a few new names in there as well. Sloffy, good evening. Welcome to the stream. Okay, so something nice and simple just to kind of ease me back into it tonight. We're going to do a run on the East Coastway. Eastbourne to Brighton in a 377, then Brighton down to Seaford in a 313, because I've only had one go on the 313, so it'd be nice to have a little bit of a play on there. Before we jump in, as always, guys, all the views and opinions expressed within this video are solely my own, may not reflect any blah, blah, blah companies I may be employed by, all that sort of good stuff that I always say, that I am absolutely 100% obliged to say. Also, I've changed my computer setup a little bit. I've moved around and I still haven't got a green screen. That's all coming, I promise. So if the volume levels are not quite right or anything, then do shout and I will try and sort that out. Anyway, without further ado, I tell you what, let's jump into the game and see what happens. So hopefully everything's going to run perfectly smoothly. I know it never happens like that, but fingers crossed it is. Right, we're going to do the East Coast Way. I'm on the 313 timetable. And we're doing the 377. We're going to do it in the snow, because I've not done any snowy driving before, so I don't know what the snow looks like on here or how it affects the train, so I'll be quite interested to have a look. So we put the snow right up. We'll have a little bit of wind and cloud. Well, that's quite atmospheric, doesn't it? I quite like that. A little bit of precipitation as well. Right. And we want to do a to Brighton via Eastbourne, 10:09. Let's load that one up. Paul, good evening. Peter, the new home is fantastic. It needs a bit of modernising and decorating, which we will be doing in due course. But yeah, it's going well so far. Oh, that looks very atmospheric. That's quite good. Particularly liking the fog effect there. I'm rather pleased with that. That looks quite nice. Right, let's get on with it. Okay. Key in, neutral, and we've got to open the doors. So as always, I'm going to put my safety systems in. DRA normal, AWS normal, DST normal, vigilance normal. Right, what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to get going. We should have DRA set as well, because I'll get going and then I'll try and answer some of your questions in the chat. We're sitting on a red signal. We've got to lock doors. We've got to do that. You would never really do that, lock doors on a red signal, as I've said before, but you've got to do that in this case to get the signal to clear. There we go, one yellow. So we take our DRA back into forward. And off we go. Going to take power notch 2 because we're only 20 mile an hour coming out of here. Yeah, Epic 112, the speed limiter on class 377, 387 units. It's not actually used. It was actually disabled on the class 375 trains, we got a green, and on the 377s, 387s, it was taken out of the driving policy, so you're not actually allowed to use it. Let's get some windscreen wipers on here, intermittent, so I can see where I'm going. Hopefully that's going to work. Please. There we go. Right, Mum Rail's behind me. Say hello, Mum Rail.
Hi.
Head chopped off there. We have coffee. Or decaf, I'm not quite sure what we have. And we're speeding, that's a good start. Yeah, so generally speaking, the set speed equipment isn't used anymore. You're not allowed to use it. Headlights, good point. There we go. Well, they're all showing red, which is really annoying. They're showing correctly on the outside though. Okay, so we're off to Hampden Park. Last signal was 1 yellow. What have we got now? 2 yellows. Okay, we get a little bit of speed in. Where did the snow go? Yeah, good point. The snow has gone. It must have melted. Right, so I'm just trying to move my microphone because I can't see the chat. Put your wipers on. We've got our wipers on. Speed rail, yeah, Pig and Bob. 1 yellow. So my driving is really atrocious. You can tell I haven't done this for a long time. Red ahead. One thing I don't like is that the signals should kind of pop out at you, but they don't. You should be able to see the signals from miles away. So you want to be doing no more than 20 mile an hour at the AWS magnet. That's good, pretty standard, good practice. One yellow. Bro got drip. Why do they ban using the speed selector on the Electrostars? I'm not entirely sure of the reason for it. I did hear it was to do with drivers were actually using the speed set inappropriately, so they were using it to slow down the train as well as speed up the train, because although it won't apply the air brake, it will apply the dynamic brake. So drivers were coming into stations and towards signals, and they were using that to slow down rather than shutting off power and coasting, which would be good practice. It comes down to like eco-friendly driving and all of that. So I think there was a kind of a danger that it was de-skilling the drivers because you weren't using the gradients of the line properly and stuff like that. You were literally just relying on the speed set. But I mean, that's just what I've heard. I don't actually know the official reasons. Terry English, welcome to Delaware, new subscriber. We are at Hampden Park. We are a 4-car, 4 for the 4. And already I'm in brake step 3, so yeah, that's really terrible driving by me. Let's get our doors open. So I don't know if I've mentioned it before, Hampden Park used to be my local station. Used to commute to and from Hampden Park from Eastbourne to school. Used to live in Hampden Park as a child as well. So I remember years and years ago, Hampden Park used to have a signal box there, just on the right. And it was reputedly the busiest level crossing in the country at one point. Lock doors, off we go. Christopher Dizanyaki, don't I get a mention? You do indeed, Dizzy. You do indeed. Dizzy's a fellow train driver. A very experienced train driver. That's a polite way of saying he's old. DC Train Spotting, a stream finally. You're not wrong there. You're not wrong there. 37 veg on the Discord. Let's jump into the Discord and see what's going on, if this is going to work. Look at that. If you want to know anything about 37, speak to Dizzy in the chat because he signs 37s. He absolutely loves them. Right, so we're good for 75. Our next speed's going to be the 35 just before Polegate. The bot took you out there, Dizzy. Sorry about that. So we are on the Discord tonight, guys, in the live stream pictures chat page. If you're not in there already, then you can click in the link in the description below and head over to the Discord server. It'd be great to see you over there. We got some. We got quite a few members of railway staff in there, sort of posting. We got like a diary section. Railway staff posting their experiences and stuff. We've got a really good friendly group over there, so if you're not in the Discord, it'd be absolutely great to see you over there. And of course, if you haven't already, do please hit that like button and subscribe. I didn't make me 10,000 subscribers before Christmas, so Joshua did get his he got his £20 reward, and I done the washing up as promised. Ryan S747, do you need to be good at maths to be a train driver? No. Otherwise I wouldn't be a train driver. I think officially in the entry requirements they want you to have GCSE grade C, which I think is a level 4 or 5 in new money. Look, I'm not concentrating, we're going to bust that 35 now and derail. That's a good start to the stream. DC Train Spotting, Cleaner Rail in the Discord server is a member of the on-train cleaning staff at Ashford Hitachi Depot, who will be posting things in there from his day-to-day life on the railway. We got down for the 35, we're not doing too bad. I'm better at driving in real life, I promise. Yeah, Peter Green. Oh, Ryanair buying some 747s I don't know about. I don't mind Ryanair to be. I've flown with Ryanair quite a few times. I know people like to slate them, but you can get like £9.99 return to Berlin or something. I don't care how bad the service is at those sorts of prices. Right, let's see if we can stop at Polegate correctly. Yeah, DC train spotting, definitely. Lots of different perspectives from different railway staff in different roles. It's really good to kind of hear. It's right on the edge of the platform. Hey Terry, welcome to the stream. Glad you made it. We are 4 on the 4. Open the door. Do the bill lights not work? The body side indicator lights are not actually working on the 377, I've just noticed as well. Even my mum, who isn't an aviation geek, agrees. What's that, an av geek? I like that expression. They can't land aircraft. Like I say, I've got no beef with Ryanair. I've flown with them a few times and they seem to be alright. Spab for the boys. That'll probably happen without me trying. Right, Green, we're off to Berwick. Jack Mc 2007, I experienced Sam Rail in real life yesterday. For those of you who don't know who Sam Rail is, Sam is one of the contributors. He's a driver based at Reading, one of the contributors on the diary section in the Discord server. I experienced Sam Rail in real life yesterday. It was funny. Totally not a full service brake application into Phil. Yeah, see you later, Diz. Have fun out there. Peter, EasyJet for the win. Okay, back to train. No, we can talk planes. We can talk about whatever you want. It hasn't got to be trains. Northern Princess Productions. I've spent the last 3 months of my life talking about bill lights. I only just understood body side indicator lights. Yeah. Let's put these wipers on a bit faster. Yeah, Sloughy, the railway's pretty good in terms of qualifications and GCSEs and stuff like that. Normally they kind of want you to have a base level, but you'll get invited in to attend an assessment day. So they will assess your ability to do the job on your sort of your attributes rather than your qualifications. So they're really good at sort of looking past the grades and looking at the person and the skills you can bring. Daniel Edmondson, how is Mum Rail? I'm a huge fan. I'm a subscriber. It's my birthday on the 28th of January. Happy birthday, Daniel. Mum Rail is okay. She's in the kitchen. What are you doing in the kitchen, Mum Rail? Ignoring me. She's doing the washing up. She made a lovely dinner today. We had teriyaki chicken. I'm on healthy eating. Got to lose some weight. Right, we're going to shut off the power now. We're getting towards Berwick. Peter Green, I'm definitely a planes, trains and automobiles kind of person. Yeah, I'm not so much into my cars, Peter, but planes and trains. I'd taken it. I wouldn't say I'm a sort of a big aviation freak or anything like that. I kind of like the operational side of aviation. And I can certainly appreciate it, but yeah. Then again, yeah, I reckon I could spend a good few hours at Heathrow plane spotting, taking pictures. I reckon I could do that. Mega Miner 10, my birthday in 4 days. Happy birthday for 4 days' time. Right, let's get some braking for Berwick. DC train spotting, no, it's still not at 10k, but we're getting there. It would help if I actually made some content and streamed a bit. Might get some subscribers if I do that. Yeah, she's coming in quite nice there in brake step 1. I think we're going to need a bit more of 2 in a minute, but she's coming in alright. Yeah, we give her a little bit of 2. We're coming in a little bit too hard there. Mum Rail's going to walk past. She's doing chores. Oh, we're going to need brake step 3. No, we might be alright. We might be alright without brake step 3. Brake step 3 is bad driving. Back into 1 for the stop. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 yards. Oh, that'll do. I'll take that. I'll take that. That'll do. Let's get some doors open. South East Rail Productions. Didn't realise you signed the route between Willingdon and Southerham. No, South East Rail Productions, I don't sign that bit. I do down to Willingdon Junction. I do all the way Hastings Main Line. I do from Ashford to Willingdon Junction into Eastbourne. And I do down from Withersfield down to Southerham Junction and on to Seaford. So I don't do the bit between Willingdon and Southerham, and I don't do the bit between Lewes and Brighton. But I do Brighton via the main line down through Preston Park. So, yeah. I just need that little bit in the middle to finish the route knowledge off. Off we go to Glide. We've got a bit of wheel slip going on there. Yeah, DC train spotting, good practice with driving. If you can work your braking points out and your shutting off points. When I was with my my instructor learning to drive initially, we used to aim for what's called a one-hit wonder. So basically what you try and do, you try and shut off power, you go into brake step 1 and you leave it and you stop bang on the stop car marker with brake step 1. And if you got 3 of those in one shift, you got the donuts bought for you. It's like the donut challenge. So yeah, good driving practice. You know exactly where to shut off, exactly where to put the brake on. Brake step 1, stop bang on the car marker, no adjusting it, just leave it alone. We used to manage it quite often actually, because the brakes are quite consistent and the way the train handles is quite consistent. So you'd get really good sort of, you'd get like a shut off power at 49 miles an hour and let it roll back to 37 and put brake step 1 in. And you can be really, really precise. There's a little bit of luck comes into it. I think the best one I ever had with that, I was driving a 12-car train coming from Sevenoaks to Tunbridge. It's a 100-mile-an-hour section of line. Doing 100 miles an hour, I went into brake step 1 for Hildenborough. Didn't touch it. Straight into brake step 1. Slowed down. Bang on the 12-car mark at the end of the platform at Hildenborough. Beautiful. That's what you're aiming for. Every stop like that. Ebsworth Street. I used to be a signaller on East Sussex Workstation at TB Rock. I've been to most of the signal boxes in the area. I've not been to the Rock. I've not had the privilege of going to the Rock yet. What's our speed limit? 90. Shunter Jack, evening all. Just tuned in on my night shift. Not much shunting happening as we're in a possession. That is the best type of shift, Jack, when you turn up and there's a possession. That is the best sort of shift. Yeah, indeed, DC train spotting. On the underground, obviously driver style is a lot more aggressive. Drive it like you stole it. Full power, full brake. Just like you stole it. 48 you lovely people in tonight. If you haven't already, please do hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. I would make another bet with Joshua that I'm going to get to 10k before my birthday. My birthday's in February, so but I'll lose again, so I'm not going to do that. Daniel Edmondson, I'm cleaning a vintage bus at the Cayley Bus Museum. Oh wow. Ebsworth Street, I'm now based in the KICC. I worked a lot of signal boxes, Reigate, Vic, London Bridge. Yeah, I've been to the KICC incidentally. Do you know Colin Price in the KICC? I've missed the speed limit change there as well. That I'm speeding. Yeah, I've visited the KICC a few times when I worked with South Eastern. I've been in the IECC down at Ashford. I've been in most of the signal boxes on the Hastings line. London Bridge box before it closed down. Went in there. That was an interesting panel. That was with the old London Bridge station actually. So it was when all the central stuff was in there as well. So we are coming into Glyn. Speed's looking good at the moment. Gonna give it a little bit of 2 there. You've got the staggered platforms there, which kind of... Are they staggered platforms? Yeah. It kind of puts you off a little bit on your speed. Oh, am I going to need 3? Am I going to need 3? Am I going to need 3? Yeah, we're going to need 3. Back to 1 for the stop. And beautiful. Let's get those doors open. So into neutral and open the doors. Yeah, Glyn is a really nice station, Arthur's Transport Productions. Let's have a quick look in the Discord, see what's going on over there. Lots of steam. Lots of steam. I'm just trying to work out where that picture is on the bottom right there. That location looks familiar to me. Can't quite put my finger on it though. Lock doors! And we're off to Lewes. Helps if you're going to forward. Top Gaming, I assume you don't get paid for driving charter steam trains on the main line, or do you? I don't drive charter steam trains, unfortunately. My company doesn't have a licence to operate steam services. But yeah, no, the guys that do it certainly do get paid. Most of the time they are regular drivers. Especially on the rail tours and stuff like that. Most of them are regular drivers. I think DB Cargo, a lot of their drivers have steam licences, and it'd just be part of their day job, really. Officially, Charles, you love full service braking, yeah. Bad driving, bad driving. Peter Green, should you avoid step 3 in the snow, or is it okay? Yeah, generally speaking, Peter, you should avoid step 3 completely. I mean, if you need it, it's there, but if you're relying on step 3 and you're using step 3 at every station, then you've got nothing in reserve. If you aim to stop at every station in brake step 1 and brake step 2, then if you're coming in a bit hard, you've got brake step 3 to back up on. But if you're coming into every station using brake step 3, you've got nowhere to go. I mean, you've got emergency, but you only get about 10% more brake in emergency. John M, do your duties involve starting out locomotives from cold? If so, are they ever hard to start? Yeah, our duties certainly do, prepping locomotives, starting them up from cold. We got a really good team of shunters where I'm based, so the shunters are very good at sort of prepping the trains and getting them ready. But it is certainly the case that it is part of our duties to prep the trains and prep the locomotives. Generally speaking, no, they start okay. Yeah, I've not sort of had any incidences where nothing started. We drive the Class 73s EDs. The batteries on those can be a bit temperamental sometimes. You just tow them out with another locomotive onto the third rail and then they'll start, no worries. Right, so we're coming over Sutherham Junction. There is a 313. We shall be having a drive on one of those a bit later on. And I've got no excuses because I do actually sign the route from here, so I've got no excuses for speeding. Right, there's your 40 coming up, and we're going to leave brake step 1 in as we go past the 40 to get down for the 20, and then we are 10 into the platforms at Lewes. This little bit I signed, so like I said, I've got no excuses. Yeah, we're going to leave brake step 1 in. Northern Princess Productions. When the driver full services on our stock, all of the crew fall over. It is quite a harsh brake application, full service. Right, we've got red ahead. I'm going way too slow. Yeah, I agree, Terry. I like the 313s. Let's get down for that 20, and 10 starts about where the points are, just as we go across the junction. South East Rail Productions, you'll go under my bridge at the college. Red ahead. Stu the Desiro Man, welcome to Dad Rail. And we are 4 cars on the 4-car mark. Into neutral. And open the doors. Step 3, DRA as well, because we are stopped at a red light. Tok Gaming. My friend accidentally dropped his phone on the tracks the other day. Well, a black 5 steamed through and kind of squished it. Oh dear. Sorry, I shouldn't laugh. That's quite unfortunate for your friend. Most exciting story I've got about losing a phone. Actually, it was a company phone. It was when I worked for South Eastern. We used to get issued with Blackberries. That was back in the day. I don't know. You're probably all too young in the chat to remember Blackberries. I'm a little bit of a roller coaster enthusiast as well. I say enthusiast. I like my roller coasters. And there's a 313 coming in there with no lights on it. Oh, he's got lights on it now. Only markers, no headlights. Must be me driving. And yeah, we went to Fort Park for my son's birthday, and we went on Stealth, the roller coaster, and my BlackBerry was in my pocket. It was in my pocket when I went on. It wasn't in my pocket when I got off again. So it's when you go to work and you've got to explain to your boss, yeah, I need a new phone, boss. Because I kind of lost mine. It fell out my pocket on a roller coaster. Right, we've got a green light, so we'll take our DRA off. Close doors into forward. DC Train Spotting, opinions on the Sprinters. I think you're trolling me. Do you know what? I said this before. I didn't have to use them all the time, but I quite like Sprinters. But then I going on a Sprinter was novel for me. I never had to commute on one or anything like that. Right, so we're 10 out of Lewes. We're off to Falmer. Yeah, Peter Green, I think Lewes does have it's 10 mile an hour, but I think, yeah, it does have an automatic announcement. Trains may pass through at high speed. Yeah, Sloughy, I think Lewes is 10 because the corner is quite tight. The signal sighting is not particularly good. And I believe as well it's got something to do with the kinetic envelope of the train. So the faster the train goes, obviously the more the suspension wobbles, the more it moves from side to side. Because of the clearance on the platforms and stuff, if you were to go too fast, the train could rock, you know, a little bit. So I think it's a combination of all of those things. Right, let's get going. So I'm going to go into step 3. No, we won't. Yeah, a little bit of wheel slip. Let's see if we can get it going. Traction sound buttons come on. So I suppose we could give it some traction sound. Sprinter's always better than a pacer. So 44 of you lovely people still watching me rabbit on about this and that. If you haven't already, then please do hit that like button and subscribe. Looking for those 10,000 subscribers. So while we're not doing very much here, let's have a little look on the Discord, see what's going on. Discord link in the description below. Oh, ED at Brighton. Could have even been me driving that one. Oh, we've got lots of people posting. Loving the miniature lever frame on the right hand side there. Yeah, ED's there on the SIT and the RHT and a Class 68. I do like the 68s. Spam rail is spamming. Hayward Heath Tunnel by the looks of that one. Is that a recent picture, Spam rail? Because that wagon in the sidings at Hayward Heath, that was supposed to be lifted out over Christmas. I don't know. I've not been down there since. I don't know if it has gone or not. Skulky Radford, hello. Scully Radford, sorry, hello. Daniel Edmondson, does it cost anything on Patreon? And do you like steam trains? Daniel, yeah, Patreon, their charges are quite extortionate in my opinion. They do take a nice cut. Do you like steam trains? Yeah, yeah, I don't mind steam trains at all. I like all sorts of trains. I think it's fair to say, and I think I've mentioned it before, my interest in the railway is kind of more infrastructure, and I love the way the network works together and how everything comes together with like sort of signalling and timetabling and planning and the sort of civil engineering side of it. I do like the trains, especially like to see a nice steam train on the main line, but my kind of interest in it is sort of more infrastructure and that sort of thing, which is probably a bit weird really. Stu the Desiro Man, evening all from a cold Nuneaton. I'm sure you probably bombed past Nuneaton at speed at some point in your rail career. If not, then you're not missing much. I'm just trying to think. Nuneaton, is that somewhere between Coventry and Birmingham, or between Rugby and Birmingham? Is it up that way somewhere? I'm sure I have. I'm sure I've been through there. Right, so we're going to shut off at the substation, which will be coming up on the left hand side, and we're going to brake step 1 just as we go into the tunnel. See if we can do a good stop at Falmer. We can improve the quality of driving on today's stream. So I'm going to shut back at the substation, and I'm going to go into brake step 1 just as we go into the tunnel. Just about there, I think. I reckon I'm going to need quite a bit of 2 to stop that. Yeah, because the gradient kind of really falls away with you as you come into Falmer. So I'm going to put step 2 in now. Nationwide, hello, brilliant to see you live again. It's brilliant to be live again. Ooh, we're going to need full service. Are we going to need full service? We are. Right at the edge of the platform. We've overshot our mark, but nothing too drastic. We always try and go back to brake step 1 for the final stop though, so you don't get that kind of nasty jolt as you stop. So neutral and doors. Oh, Stu the Desiro Man. I run a local rail user group and I have a big passion for railways. It's great I can do something to give back. We also adopt a station too, the railway. No, definitely, Stu. If you can give something back to the community, that's superb. I like to think that I'm kind of doing similar with these sort of streams and sort of giving information the best I can. Yeah, Nuneaton on the Trent Valley between Rugby. Yeah, that's the one. Waiting until 10:43. We're running early. Wow, that's not bad. Trainsim 313 and 377. Very appropriate username for today's stream. The only bit of this route I do in real life will be from Lewes down to Seaford as a freight driver. So we sign that route primarily for the RHTT and the SITT seasonal trains. But if you know that area, then I was working down there. We're not in forward, are we? That's why the train's not moving properly. That would have caused an emergency brake application on the real train. Off we go. Off to Morsecombe. Yeah, I was working down at Seaford about 3 weeks ago on a possession that we'd done a track renewal on the single line section that overrun by about 7 or 8 hours. It overrun by. Yeah, train sim 313. We are doing the. We're going to get to Brighton, then we're going to hop in a 3-on-3, do a 3-on-3 service back to Seaford. Train sim 313. You want to drive a train when you're older? Any advice? If you want to do it, go for it. That's my advice. If that's your dream and your passion, then pursue it. If there's quite a few videos on the channel, how to become a train driver, things you need to know about becoming a train driver. So my best advice would probably be to go and have a quick look at those, and then you can always get in contact with me on my social media channels, which are on the screen now, or via the Discord server. And if I can answer any questions, I'll be more than happy to do so for you. I'm not always the quickest at replying to my messages, as a lot of my followers will know. That's purely because I'm a very busy man. I have 4 wonderful children and a loving wife to attend to, so they take up a lot of my time. But no, if you do send me a message, I will get back to you, but it might take me a few days, weeks, months. Right, Morsecombe, let's get some brakes in. We are going quite fast. Yeah, train sim 313, that would have been me. I was on that in the evening. On the Monday, a DB freight train ended up at Eastbourne because of the overrun. Oh, that would have been something to see. Oh, Raygun, a 43 scrap move. That sounds painful. That shouldn't be allowed, should it? Should not be allowed. So back into full service. I feel like my driving is really bad tonight. It's not a bad stop though. It's not a bad stop. 4 yards short. Into neutral. What's kind of bugging out on me there? I want to drive for Southern because they are my favourite company and I love the company. Yeah, when I was employed by South Eastern, we used to drive 377 Southern services. We used to do a little bit of work on the London Bridge main line for Southern. We used to work some of the Horsham services from London Bridge down to Red Hill, and obviously the Tunbridge trains as well. Pig and Bob, do you ever pass Oxford? Not in a train. I don't sign up that way. I don't think I've ever, to be fair, I don't think I've ever been through Oxford on a train. I may have been at some point, but I don't recall ever having been through there. Right, we're off to Brighton. Yeah, I think Colas have got a few of the 43s. I don't think we're ever likely to see them down in my neck of the woods. I don't believe you can run a 43 over a third rail area. I could be wrong. But I believe there's something that you can't run them in third rail areas. Train Sim 313, have you driven along the West Coast Main Line south between London, Euston, Milton Keynes Central? Yes, I've driven between Wembley Depot and Northampton on the West Coast Main Line. I don't sign that route, but it was when I qualified as a freight train driver, that was the route that we went on to do my final assessment, which was quite nice. Can you do to Horsham on here? No, Scully, unfortunately not. I was in Horsham yesterday. Logan, hello, hello. Right, let's get down for that 30 across the viaduct. London Road Viaduct, beautiful. Oh, okay, so they run them down to Weymouth. That's third rail, so. Yeah, Shunter, Shunter Jack, I would love to have seen that. Just as well the driver had route knowledge along there as well. That could have been interesting. Beautiful. Superb. Oh, we still got snow on the route. Have we got snow on the route? No, we haven't. Stop talking and drive. 20. Yeah, I went through Crawley yesterday on 3 Yankee 90. Yeah, we're down to Horsham, change ends and back up to Redhill. Stu the Desire Man, DFT, good or bad, your view. Ethan, welcome to Dad Rail. I don't know if I can comment really. I think a lot of the time the DFT specifying the services hampers the TOCs in a way. So I mean the DFT kind of specify what traction you're allowed and what service you've got to run and stuff like that, and I don't necessarily think that's a good thing. I think sometimes it should be left to the people that know. Right, so in reality there would be 10 mile an hour TPWS loop approaching the buffer stop, so for the sake of realism we'll slow down for it, even though it's not there. Bradford, going to save up for a good GPU and power supply and get Train Sim World 2. 3090 Ti. We have missed the Seaford train. That means we'll have to load up the game and start again. Oh, pay attention. Oh, collision rail. Collision rail. Right, so offside door release. It is good practice to get up onto the offside and press the buttons, as I've said a few times before. What I should have done though is set the DRA, gone into brake step 3 and neutral. Of course in reality you wouldn't be able to get up out the chair and go to the other side without setting the neutral because the vigilance device would go off. So wipers off, headlights off, we have tail lights on auto on a 377. I don't tend to use the auto. And off, key out. There we go, right. To be fair, it's still giving me a reasonable score. I'm quite pleased with that. Peter Green, 3090 is overkill for Train Sim. Right, what are we doing? Let's have a look around and see what time the next train is to Seaford. Yeah, it's a real shame you haven't got the London commuter layers on here as well. It should be great if you could just go and jump on a London-bound service. We've just missed one, haven't we? So I expect 11:11. Yeah. No, we'll load up. We'll go back to the menu and load one up. Whilst we're doing that, let's have a quick look in the Discord server and see what is going on. I think we've got London Road Viaduct there, top left. Yeah, for real. Brilliant. If you're not in the Discord server, guys, then there is a link in the description below, and I've got the live stream pictures page up on the screen at the moment. So anything you post in there will get up on the screen for you. East Coastway 313, and we are going to do the 313. We'll see if we can actually get the snow to work this time. So we've got the snow level full up. We'll put it on fog. Put snow full up. I'll put the cloud down a little bit. I know you can't see. Yeah, King ET over 3080 Ti 4K max settings, 100 FPS. Lol. Yeah, I'm running. I've got a 3090 in this machine, and I'm restricted to 60 FPS in game, but I think that's because I've got the anti something filtering turned on. I don't know. Right, what service are we doing? Brighton to Seaford, 10:41. That's a 34-minute service, and I think we'll do that, and that'll wrap us up nicely for today. Yeah, I've got the month set for January now, so hopefully the snow will stay down. Platform 8 at Brighton. Okay, right. Key in. Neutral. Oh, I've got my key in. There we go, neutral. Open the doors. DRA can be off because we can see the banner repeater. So, how do I turn the safety systems on? I've got to try and remember how to do this. That's the guard switch. AWS on. There we go. And we want a headlight. Don't forget the headlight. Headlights there. Oh, nice build up of snow on the front. Beautiful. Right, okay. Lock doors. Trains in 313. That's just a personal preference, really, with the going into neutral thing. All the time you're away from neutral, you need to keep your foot on the pedal. So going into neutral is kind of just good practice. Right, let's release the brakes and hopefully this thing will go. Right. I'll pull the window down as well, so we get better motor sounds. Matthew Rice, how did you get that display which shows all of the donators? Or what desktop? That was actually, I built that myself using Adobe After Effects. It doesn't show up too well on here. I assume you mean the... Let's jump into that one. I assume you mean that screen there where it comes up with like the dot matrix display. If you actually look at the full res file, we got an E and a green on the thing. If you look at the full res file, it's actually got like the proper grid pattern on the overlay, but it doesn't show on there on the dot matrix display for some reason. I think it's because like the bit rate's kind of toned down and stuff. Ah, so this looks far more atmospheric. I do like the 313 on here. Bradley, I am not sure why you can't post in there. If there are any of the Discord mods in the chat, if someone could help Bradley to post in the live stream pictures page, that would be awesome. Terry, how deep has the snow got to be to stop a service? Is it above the run? Oh dear, oh dear. I'm gonna make myself look stupid now. Oh, look at that. That does look nice. Trying to change the subject. See, this is one of those things that I really should know because it's in the rulebook. But this is one of those things that kind of, when you get the situation and you're not sure about it, you would go and reference the rulebook and you would just refresh yourself on that knowledge, because it's not a rule we use very often. I'm not entirely sure is the correct answer. I know when we're driving in snowy conditions, there's sort of different requirements on braking tests and stuff, and I'll sort of talk about those in a few minutes' time. Generally speaking, in third rail areas, as soon as the conductor rail's covered in ice, everything shuts down anyway. Right, London Road. We are a free car for the free. Yeah, I've got to remember the brakes are not as good as the 377 on this as well. Just like that. Let's get some doors open. Would you say Train Sim Mod 2 is a good way to learn about the railway world and get to know things? Yes and no. It's absolutely no substitute for getting out there and on the railway and speaking to people. But in order sort of to learn signalling and stuff like that, I think it's a really good. Gives you a really good understanding. I said before with like learning routes and stuff. I think it can be a really good aid, sort of learning where the stations and speed limits are, and where the signals are. The routes are pretty accurate, but there's no substitute for actually getting out there and sort of giving it a go. Northern Princess Productions, you're pretty much bang on with the running brake test. So. Love the sound of the traction motor blowers on these kicking up. Ooh, she's slipping. So to get the power back down to notch 2 from 4, I've actually got to go back to neutral. Yeah, running brake test, stock specific. I know the 158s have to come down to 15 every 2 to 3 minutes. I believe, Emily, the rule book requirement is you must make a 50% brake application every 2... I think it's every between 3 and 5 minutes. And the train speed needs to be reduced by at least 10 miles an hour. And the reason for that is, basically, if you've got ice forming in the brake rigging, you need to keep the brake rigging warm. If you could get a build-up of ice, you put the brakes and then nothing happens because you've got ice stopping the brake rigging from moving, which has happened before on trains and freight trains. Not so much a problem on sort of modern stock with disc brakes, but on tread brakes it can be sort of more of an issue. So yeah, your running brake test would be every 3 to 5 minutes, 50% brake application, reduce the train speed by at least 10 miles an hour. But it could be that different stock has sort of specific requirements as well. Right, so we're going to shut off there at the distance signal. Andrew, have you ever spadded in real life? I've been involved in Category B spad, Andrew, which is where the signal's gone back to danger in front of me. But I've not been involved in a Category A spad, fortunately. Yeah, I really need to remember the brakes are not very good on this. I'm probably going to overshoot. Come on! Oh, she's slipping. She's slipping. She's really slipping. I think we might be all right. We're going to get away with that. I think we've just about got away with that. Oh, bang on. I've said it before, but I really wish we had some sort of dispatch and conductor on this. It'd be really nice to sort of get a nice, yeah, conductor thing going on. Fire King 375. No, I don't actually cover this bit of the route. I do cover the bit down to Seaford, but not this bit of the route. From Lewes to Seaford, I'm good for that. Nationwide, any update of the Patreon will stay running? Yes, Patreon will stay running, and I'll be getting back on that with more exclusive content this month. I've had a few requests for what people would like to see on there, and we will be doing the Patreon only live stream as well. Hopefully next week. Just depends on my work schedule, but I will announce that, and we'll be back on to where we should be with that. Stu the Desire Man, what do you think to the Salisbury train accident? From what I understand of it, Stu, I think low adhesion was the ultimate cause of that. It was a very experienced driver on there, and it just goes to show that as much as leaves on the line of the national joke, they clearly are no joke. It just goes to show what can happen. I've not read. Is there a preliminary report for that been published yet? I've not seen the preliminary report for that. Yeah, thanks for joining us, Train Sim. If you haven't already, do hit the like button. That would be awesome. Right, we're off to Falmer, 1.4 miles away. Let's get some speed in. John M, regarding the brake test, I wonder how many countries with a lot of snow manage it. I imagine the rules must be different. Yeah, it could be that they've got heated brake rigging. It could be that the brake rigging is designed differently. I'm not entirely sure, to be honest with you, John. I'd love to drive a 313 in real life. I think they're really nice units. Right, let's get some braking. We are uphill though into Falmer. Yeah, quite agree with you, Stu. Definitely sad for the drivers. I mean, I know I think it was the SWR drivers' life-changing injuries. Yeah, look, I'm well over the top on the brakes now. Early reports suggest the RHTT train for that area didn't run as scheduled on that day. Yeah, the gradient coming in here was at 0.9%. Yes, that's why my speed's been taken out so quickly. Can you show us the interior? Yeah, no worries, Logan. I'll get stopped at this station and we'll have a little look. Let's get some braking. We're into 1, into 2. Do you know a guy called Alan Thompson in the train? Yeah, I've heard of Alan Thompson, Andrew. Don't know him personally. 2 for the stop. And let's get some doors open. We'll have a quick look at the interior as well now. There we go, 313, refurbished 313 interior. I think they made a pretty good job on the interior of this. It does look quite nice. No lights in the middle coach. That is a bug that they are aware of. As far as I know, they're aware of. Lock doors. Yeah, Stu the Desire Man definitely proves how vulnerable you are being at the front. You are, you know, where's the crumple zone in the train? You are the crumple zone. The cab is the crumple zone. Fire King 375. Have you tried the Great Western Express? Only on PlayStation. I've not tried the Great Western Express on PC. It is on my list of to get routes. See, there should be a lot of arcing and sparking from the third rail as we pull away from there, or try to pull away from there. But we're just not getting that. Never mind, it's just me being fussy. I think sometimes I sound like I'm being really critical of the game, but I'm genuinely not. I do really enjoy the game. Right, let's take her back to 0. Let the cam wind back and then try again into 2. After transport, RHTT is a bit pointless in the snow. RHTT is counterproductive in the snow. Spraying water all over the track on an RHTT just causes it to freeze up and then get conductor rail problems and all sorts. So yeah. Have you got the dynamic brake switched on? On real life it's isolated on all the trains. I'll have a quick look in a minute. I'm not sure if I have. And the way the brake gauge was behaving, it's quite possible that I do have it switched on. It's one of these. Is it an MCB back here somewhere? Or is it on the desk? Foot warmer. We'd need that on today. I'm sure it's under a little flap somewhere, isn't it? I'm probably looking straight at it. Come on, somebody knows. Somebody knows. Where is it? Oh, we're speeding. Let's get some braking. Piglet Tube, what does the top speed limit mean on a fraction and the bottom? Oh, yeah, sorry. I was trying to work out what you meant there. Yeah, it's called it's a differential speed. Is what that's called. So the higher speed, which will be the the higher speeds on the bottom. Yeah, the higher speed will apply to passenger trains. Basically, I think it's class 1, 2 and 5 trains, and the 0, 1, 2 and 5 trains, and the other speed will apply to all other classes of trains. Basically, if it's a locomotive hauled freight train, it's going to go on the lower speed. If it's a passenger train, it'll be following the higher speed. That's the easiest way of remembering that. Ethan, hello. Yeah, Stu, I'm on the. I don't drive passenger trains anymore. I drive freight trains, but yeah, I have done a few late night trains out of London full of drunks. It can be interesting. Watching them trying to walk and then gravity takes over. As long as it doesn't take over in front of my train, I don't mind. I think the best one I had with that was I worked. I'd only been driving for about a year, and I worked the last train out of Charing Cross to Hastings New Year's Eve, so that's New Year's Day, about 1 o'clock in the morning. The fireworks had just finished. Actually, no, I pulled into London Charing Cross just as the fireworks were going off. And if you know London Charing Cross, you kind of come across the River Thames on Hungerford Bridge, and you've got the London Eye. The fireworks are going off right there. Absolutely spectacular. We had about an hour's wait, and then we worked the last train back, full of party revellers and God knows what else. I seem to remember it was a pretty quiet run back though. Ethan, we are in the class 313. Just coming into Lewes on the East Coastway, heading down towards Seaford. The snow hasn't melted, which is good this time. So I've got that 10 coming up. It's quite steep down here as well into Lewes, so I'm just watching my speed, making sure it doesn't creep up too much. We get a little bit of braking. John M, when collecting a rake of wagons, do you have any checks other than a brake test to see if they're holding pressure? Yeah, that's a good question, John, actually. You do a what's called a brake continuity test. So basically you charge the locomotive up to 5 bar of brake pressure, which is a full release. And then the shunter goes to the back of the train and drops the brake tap on the back of the train, so you completely vent the brake pipe. And then you observe in the cab the brake pressure falling to 0 bar, which tells you you've got continuity through the train. The other check you should have is you should have what's called a roll-by test. So as you're leaving the station or yard, there should be a shunter stood there checking that the wheels are turning on every wagon and that nothing's locked up. How close can you go to the train's maximum speed? It depends on the line speed. I think 75 is the maximum one of these. If we get 75 line speed, we'll do 75. We're on the mark. That's close enough. So, into neutral. Personal preference, that is again. And open the doors. Got a green. Stu the Desirant, do you ever see a spotter looking the opposite way and decide to let rip with the horn? We've been told off lately for overuse of the horn in certain locations, so we have to be a little bit careful with that one. Do they have Amtrak's Axel Express on here? And I don't think they do on here, but there are some North American routes. There's Boston Sprinter on here. There's a couple of other ones, I believe, as well. Lock doors. So now, in theory, not in theory, I now signed the route all the way down to Seaford, so I've got no excuses. So this could be interesting. Andrew, why do all different types of trains have different speed restrictions? I guess a lot of it's just to do with design speed, Andrew. Generally speaking, the reason freight trains will have lower speed restrictions than passenger trains is due to the braking capability. You need to be able to stop within, I think it's 1.25 miles is the emergency braking distance from any speed. Obviously the brakes on some freight trains, I say some freight trains because some of the modern wagons have got superb brakes on them. What have I got brakes on? So yeah, the speed limit will be sort of worked out on the distance between the signals, factors like that. Sometimes as well you might have bridges that are a bit weak, so you don't want heavy freight trains rattling over them too fast, causing too much vibration. So there's lots of different factors that are taken into account. Right, we're good for 60. Let's go. We should get one yellow on the next signal. Yeah, Stu, that is completely true. Some drivers hate enthusiasts. Yeah. There's a lot of drivers who've got absolutely no interest in the job, and for them it is just a job, and that's absolutely fine. And there are some that hate enthusiasts with a passion. No, I haven't seen that, Ethan. Right, in reality, on this signal here, you would get a single yellow. The reason you would get a single yellow is because we've got 60-mile-an-hour line speed and we're coming up to a junction. So I've got no way of knowing what way the next signal is set at until we actually get to the junction. Now, if I wanted to go along the Eastbourne line and I was getting green signals like I am now, and I come to the next signal and it's got a route indicator for Seaford, I'm not going to be able to stop in time. So if I'm turning off on this junction, I'd expect one yellow on the previous, and I'd come up to this. I would come towards this signal. This signal would be displaying a red, coming towards it, and it would clear as I approach it. So I would know if I've got green on the previous one that I'm going straight on. If I get checked down on the previous one, I'm possibly turning off. So 40 across the junction, and then we're up to 70. This is Southern Junction. I'm driving over a bit of route that I know, so if I overshoot the stations on here, then I do know it's a freight driver though, not a passenger driver. Right, that's a differential warning speed there as well. It's 40 over 70 for Glynde Reach Viaduct. That's what we were saying earlier about freight trains having lower speed. On the viaduct coming up, Glynde Reach Viaduct, freight trains are only allowed to do 40, whereas passenger trains can do 70. Yeah, I completely agree with you, Stu, and I always say to people, you know, it's good to have, like when I was on the platform, you know, it's good to have railway enthusiasts about, because yeah, it is an extra pair of eyes. Yeah, good point, Terry, actually, about the point heaters. Yeah, round points and stuff, we normally have point heaters fitted, and they're definitely not on here. So that's Glynde Reach Viaduct we're coming over now. So there'll be a foot crossing in just a second, and that's going to be my braking point. Well, we've got a coasting board there. There's the foot crossing. That's going to be my braking point for Southeast. So I'm going to go into 1. That would work in a 377, but I might need a bit of 2 being that we're in a 313. Peter, flashing yellows are normally used on higher speed crossovers. So if you've got a crossover where your diverging speed could be a bit higher, then you typically have flashing yellows. I think they're a bit underused, to be fair. I'd like to see more flashing yellows. It's a really good indication. Rusty Nuts, first train I drove was a 3-on-3 on the Watford DC line. Awesome. I think the first time I went on a 313 would have been on the West London on Show Me Age. I think it was Silverlink Metro back then. Yeah, John, I think the only thing 73s are really used for now is RHTT and SITT trains. Very rare. I mean, you will occasionally get one on a ballast service, but it's very rare that you'll see them on sort of heavy freight trains, unfortunately. Anyone who knows this line will know that South East Station very rarely sees passengers. I think it's like the 4th or 5th least used station in Sussex. So having lots of passengers on there like that is unrealistic. But we'll let them off. Yeah, definitely, Daniel, quite agree with you. AFS5. I can't really comment too much, to be fair. I've never driven a 313 in real life. It seems pretty good to me. It does seem pretty good from what I know of them, but I can't really give a fair comment from a driver's perspective. Get some sand down. Oh, excuse me. Peter Green, Jeff Marshall needs to visit. Yeah, I think it's not the least used. I think it's probably maybe 3rd or 4th. Yeah, you're right, Bradley. You did. I used to remember there was a there used to be a service that went all the way to Hastings, actually, 3-on-3. It went to Orr. I've got a video of that on my Platforms and Posers video. So, yeah, Platforms and Posers video. I've got a 313 at all. Yeah, it used to be a regular service. So, New Haven Town is our next station stop. Yeah, little things like that, Stu. Like you say, you noticed a wheel flat and you reported it. I was on a train the other day travelling to work and the roof was leaking. So, you know, I went on Twitter, made a note of took a picture of the leak, made a note of the carriage number and the service that I was on, sent all that in. And it's, you know, it's information like that that the train companies do appreciate. Nationwide, do you think a steam route will ever come to Train Mod 2, or do you think it's too complicated for them? I know it's been spoken about nationwide. I'm not allowed to say anything more than that. As I'm sure you all know, I'm an ambassador for Dovetail Games. I'm on their ambassador program. I'm also a beta tester for Dovetail. I know Steam has definitely been spoken about. Whether it will happen or not, I don't know. So we've got a 35 coming up, which starts just past New Haven Town Yard. Fire King 375. I've never had a passenger try to access the driving cab. Should we report wheel flats? During our HTT season, we get a lot of wheel flats. A lot of bad wheel flats in our HTT season. Right, let's get some brakes in for this 35. Newhaven Town Yard on the right. Chris, Happy New Year to you and yours as well. There will be, as of next week, I believe, you're going to start seeing a lot more. Oh, look at that. That was almost perfect for the 35. Just out. There's going to be a lot more GBRF trains coming down, the GBRF 66s, maybe even 69s coming down this line into the Newhaven Marine Aggregates Terminal as of next week, I believe. Bradley, why can't the Southern 171s go on the Eastbourne main line? I think there is some empty coaching stock workings that go Eastbourne to Selhurst. Newhaven Town. Nationwide, what do you think about train spotters that go overboard where wanting a tone, otherwise known as tone? Can't say that word. Good luck to them, you know, give the old hand signal. Although that hand signal actually is a proper railway hand signal for create a brake. If a shunter does that to you, they're telling you to charge the brake pipe. So, yeah. Good luck to him. Good luck to him. What button am I pressing? That one. Lock doors, off we go. How do you get the different tones of horn? It is spacebar and N in Train Sim World to get the high and the low. Right, release the brakes. We are going to Newhaven Harbour. I'm in forward already. Release the brakes. Release the brakes. Robert, hello and good evening. You're joining us towards the end of the stream. Not very far around to Newhaven Harbour and only a very short platform, so we need to make sure we don't undercook the brakes. Yeah, we get it, Terry, with wheel flats around the place called Seaford, which is between Gatwick Airport and Redhill. There's something at the track called gotchas. Which are basically, they detect hot axle boxes and wheel flats. And I had it twice last season when you go over there and then the radio goes off. Yeah, 30 mile an hour back to depot, please, driver. Which is, normally though, it's not on the outbound journey, it's when you're going home, which is really annoying. Off with the brakes. On with the brakes. Stop! Stop! Please stop. Newhaven Harbour. Loading passengers. Robert Lilly, slide into Marine Station if you aren't careful, yeah. Don't want to be doing that. This has all changed since the simulation was built as well. You know, this signal here, you don't have the route indicator on it. It's going to Newhaven Marine Station. All you get now is the subsidiary signal into the sidings. The station's actually been permanently closed down at Newhaven Marine now. Some of the signage is still there, though, on the platform, although it's very faded. Right, Bishopstone. So this is harbour level crossing. The train spotter 7. As a real driver, do you feel TS 2022 or TSW2 is more realistic? You're not going to like my answer to this. I think OpenBVE is more realistic as a simulator. As a game, I think Train Sim World and Train Sim Classic are both very good, but as a simulator, it's got to be Open BVE. Bradley, did you say something about getting different trains on the Lewes to Seaford line next week? Yeah, there's going to be GBRF services running down there as of next week. Right, let's get some speed up. There's a disused station coming up, and I know what it's called, and I can't remember, and that's bugging me. Is it Sand something, or someone will know? South Coast Train Spotter, you'll know. I do know what it's called, that's really bugging me now. 45 of you lovely people still watching. If you haven't already, do please hit that like button and consider subscribing. Nationwide, no worries if you don't know what I'm talking about, but have you ever had a fatality? No, Nationwide, I've fortunately never been involved in a fatality, but a number of my colleagues obviously have. Funnily enough, the closest I've come to having a fatality was last week when I was driving 4 Yankee 19, the Gypsum service. I've just gone through Orpington doing about 55 miles an hour, 60 miles an hour, and my radio went off, emergency, 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 and it flashes up stop on the screen. So I stopped my train, I whacked the emergency plunger. You couldn't make this up. I whacked the emergency plunger on the train, and my train come to a stand bang on the S-car mark at Petswood. It was like perfect stop. And basically what had happened, there'd been a fatality on the down at Bickley on the line that sort of crosses over. We cross over the top of it between Petswood and Chislehurst. So yeah, I wasn't directly involved in it, but I did receive the emergency stop call for it. That's probably the closest I've been to a fatality, if you like. Tide Mills, that's the one. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Adam, good evening. Welcome to the stream. So I will be streaming again on Tuesday evening at 8:30. That is the plan. Possibly be doing the Chatham main lines on Train Sim Classic. I'm just in contact with Dovetail about trying to get a key for that one at the moment, because they're very, very kind in that respect and do like sending things like that out. So hopefully I can get a key for that one and we can have a little go on that one. From the feedback I've seen, I understand that's a really good route. I know there's a lot of demand for German stuff as well, so I am going to be getting on and doing some German stuff. I know I keep saying it, but I definitely will be doing some German stuff at some point. Yeah, Bradley, I believe... I don't know how much I'm allowed to say, actually. I think GBRF have got some services going into New Haven Marine, some aggregate services. Beautiful. Do like a 313. One yellow on the distance signal. We'll just jump over to the Discord very quickly, one last time. We've got some continental stuff going on, which is always nice to see. Beautiful. What do you think about the 707s? They're nice for the driver, not so nice for the passengers. Right, let's let the cam run back and try again, because I'm not getting away very well here. I've still got the brakes on, that's why. It's because I pulled away an outside view, that's what it is. That's my excuse, I'm sticking to it. That's why I'm slipping. Yeah, had the pleasure of being involved in the track relaying exercise here a couple of weeks ago, which caused havoc. I think you've got your night headlight on. Nah, don't worry about that. Right, let's get some brakes in. So 15 at the platform ramps on a terminal station is, even if it's not signposted as 15, it's always a good speed to be aiming for. Sergeant Saul, would a driver ever start their shift from a station other than the one they are based at? That is a pretty good question, Sergeant Saul. Possibly. It depends on your company and their terms and conditions. Normally, your shift, you say you're based at, I don't know, London Victoria. You would book on at London Victoria, then you might have to travel to East Croydon to pick up a train, for example. So normally you'd book on and off at your home station, but it is possible that you might have to travel somewhere else to pick up the train. Generally speaking, in freight that happens a lot. In freight that does happen a lot. Some freight drivers are even based from home and they're sort of flexible work. We're going to hit the stops. Open the doors. Yeah, some freight drivers are based from home and then you kind of just travel to the location as you needed to. So it depends on individual companies' terms and conditions. There we go. 313 out Seaford. Okay, so we're in full service on the brakes. We are going to tail lights up, into neutral. Oh, I set my DRA as well because we're on the stops. Key out. That's neutral, isn't it? Oh, we'll need to go into the off position to key out, that's why. Silver medal. I'll take it. Little bit of speeding, but nothing too bad. Off position. Why can't I get my key out? There we go. Close your windows. You don't want to leave the windows open when you get out the cab, because you leave the windows open, what will happen is you'll change ends when you get back to Brighton or wherever you're going, and you'll have a wet bum because the seat will be soaked. Not on these though, because they fold up. Not in service. Must be going empties. So there we go, boys and girls. That is it for today. I do hope you've enjoyed this stream and my grand return to YouTube and streaming. I've got some normal videos in the works as well. I've got a couple of good ideas, some stuff that I'm going to be progressing there, and hopefully get some normal work videos out as well. Don't forget you can follow me on my social media channels, facebook.com/dadrow, twitter.com/dadrow. And if you're not already, it'd be great to see you in the Discord server. There is a link to that in the description below. Next stream will be on Wednesday at the usual time of 8:30. If there's anything in particular you would like to see, then do hit me up on the socials or on Discord, and I'll see if I can't play it for you. Diesel Railcar Simulator, Train Sim World, Train Sim Classic, Trains with a Z. Got some content thanks to Adam for that. There's going to be some content of that coming up very soon, and some various other bits and bobs. Yes, if you've got any suggestions of what you'd like to see in the next one, hit me up, social media, Discord, and let me know. I'm going to call it a night, guys. Thank you very much for watching. It has been a pleasure as always, and I shall hopefully see you on Wednesday at 8:30. Until next time, remember, create, share, and inspire.